Roughly 5,000 ships were committed, and by nightfall well over 100,000 men were already on hostile soil. The Atlantic Wall didn't hold. It was bypassed, fractured, and forced open, and Western Europe's German defensive plan began dying on the first tide. Imperial War Museums. The bill was immediate. Fortifications, guns, and engineered coastline, built over years, were reduced to hours of usable delay. Billions in concrete and steel became minutes of friction. Imperial War Museums. By sentence 4, here's the gut punch: a single weather break, measured in hours, decided whether Nazi Germany could keep the West closed for another year. That window was what the Allies waited for. And when it opened, it wasn't negotiable. Stay with us, because this operation wasn't a triumph of force alone. It was a triumph of timing, and the twist is simple: Germany built the conditions that destroyed Germany. It wasn't chaos. It was calculation. The Atlantic Wall was supposed to be final. It was supposed to be the verdict. It became evidence. 8:52 p.m. The channel is not calm. It's passable. And that distinction removes Germany's biggest ally, weather. The sea stops being a barrier and becomes a lane. That pause costs Germany at least one full defensive cycle, because a coast that can be crossed is a coast that must be defended everywhere at once. Germany's coastal doctrine depended on certainty: storms cancel invasions, rough surf breaks landings, low visibility protects defenders. And for days, that logic looked correct. A delayed assault wasn't a failure. It was a trap closing. No clarity. No daylight certainty. No clean horizon. 9:41 p.m. The first consequence is not explosions. It's silence. Radio discipline tightens. Movement becomes minimal. The absence itself is the warning signal. When an enemy stops making noise right before contact, they are already moving. Germany's system was designed to detect the obvious: large fleets, massed formations, predictable approaches. The Atlantic Wall was built to survive a battering. It was not built to survive a timed disruption of command and control while the coast is being punched at multiple points. This wasn't protection. It was rigidity. 10:26 p.m. The weather does something small: it steadies just enough. And that just enough removes Germany's ability to dismiss the threat as impossible. Readiness becomes conditional instead of assumed, because now every commander has to ask the same question: is this the night? If you knew the assault only needed a few workable hours, where would you place your certainty? In concrete? In minefields? Or in the sky? No extra reserves. No spare mobility. No flexible communications. 11:18 p.m. The first Allied shape appears where Germany least wants it, not as one spear, but as many. And that forces a cognitive split. When defenses are fixed, the mind is fixed too. The defender starts guessing. The German assumption was dependency, that the enemy must concentrate. That the enemy must telegraph scale. That the enemy must commit where the defender is strongest. So the defender built the wrong layer. Bunkers, guns, and obstacles were a wall. The real vulnerability was the nodes behind the wall: the inland command posts, the communications lines, the decision loops. A wall can delay bodies. It cannot delay decisions if the decision system is shattered. Efficiency became exposure. 12:07 a.m. Something shifts: the assault becomes real without becoming obvious. And Germany loses the first thing that matters in modern war: tempo. Not casualties. Tempo. This delay removes a full response cycle from the night, because units that should be moving are still waiting for confirmation. No confirmation. No unified picture. No single main effort. The Allies didn't need Germany blind. They needed Germany busy. And the cost imbalance starts here. A cheap disruption, confusion, false indicators, fragmented reports forces expensive responses: alerts, redeployments, contradictory orders, engines running, fuel burned with no contact. Cheap pressure. Expensive readiness. 12:54 a.m. The inland command and control nodes start to feel it, not as a collapse, but as friction. Orders arrive late. Reports contradict. Local commanders act without alignment. Throughput drops, not to zero, but low enough to matter. If you were a German commander hearing 3 different crisis reports at once, which one would you reinforce? No time to verify. No time to coordinate. No time to reassemble the picture. 1:33 a.m. The channel becomes an assembly line. This is the part people misunderstand. The invasion wasn't a single event. It was logistics executed under fire. And logistics has dependencies: tides, light, waves, spacing, schedules. Germany's defense was dependent on interrupting the first wave hard enough that nothing coherent could follow. That dependency is exactly what the Allies attacked by waiting for the narrow weather window. They didn't need perfect conditions, only just enough continuity to keep the machine feeding itself. What followed wasn't a warning. It was a bill. 2:21 a.m. The Real warning signal returns: absence. Coastal sectors expect one thing: obvious massing. They don't get it. They get scattered, conflicting contact. That absence is operational. It means the enemy is already inside your decision cycle. And now Germany loses the second thing that matters: options. Because fixed defenses do not create options. They create commitments. No lateral mobility. No rapid reserve. No clean counterstroke. 3:04 a.m. The clock starts stripping Germany of initiative. Every minute that passes without a decisive interdiction removes a launch window for counteraction. That pause costs Germany at least one launch window for coordinated reserve movement, because daylight will change everything. And daylight is not neutral. Daylight favors the side with air power, reconnaissance, and supply. No darkness advantage. No concealment comfort. No time to reset. 3:52 a.m. Germany's coastal guns and strongpoints are now facing a problem they were never built to solve: simultaneity. Not one breach. Several. Not one landing. Multiple. A wall is effective when it funnels. It fails when it must cover everything at once. The system worked. That's why it failed. 4:36 a.m. The first amphibious assault elements begin to press toward the Atlantic Wall defenses, and the inland nodes have to decide: do you treat this as the main landing or a diversion? That question is fatal because it burns time. And time is the only currency you can't replace. No decisive allocation. No unified reserve. No confident doctrine. 5:41 a.m. The tide and light align. That alignment takes something away from Germany that no bunker can defend: predictability. The Allies didn't attack at Germany's preferred conditions. They attacked at the only conditions that allowed the Allied machine to stay coherent. From here, Germany's defenses face a cheap versus expensive imbalance in kinetic form. A landing craft or a small assault team is cheap compared to the fixed fortification designed to stop it. But the fortification is only valuable if it can be supported, reinforced, and commanded. When the inland nodes choke, the bunker becomes a tomb with a gunslit. 6:22 a.m. The decisive 10-second window in an amphibious invasion isn't cinematic. It's procedural. It's the moment a sector's attention shifts, a fire plan breaks, a local commander loses columns, and an assault element slips from exposed to established. That window happens repeatedly across the coastline. And each time it happens, Germany loses another unit of leverage: the ability to deny follow-on waves. That delay removes a full strike cycle from the morning, because counterattacks that must happen at first light now happen late, or not at all. No synchronized fire. No clean kill zones. No reliable reporting. 7:09 a.m. The Atlantic Wall begins turning from a barrier into a map of isolated points. It's not that every strongpoint is destroyed. It's that the strongpoints stop being a system. Systems win wars. Isolated positions die. This wasn't protection. It was rigidity. 7:58 a.m. Inland command and control nodes are now under a different kind of pressure. they are being forced to respond to realities faster than their communications can move. That mismatch removes Germany's third asset, confidence. Units stop believing in reinforcement timelines. Leaders stop believing in the plan. If you can't trust your reserves to arrive, what do you do with the coastline under assault? No confidence to hold. No confidence to move. No confidence to commit. 8:44 a.m. The cost imbalance widens again. Germany must spend expensive resources, fuel, trucks, daylight movement, just to reposition units that were already supposed to be in the right place. The Allies spend cheap resources, deception, timing, pressure, to make Germany burn itself. Cheap deception. Expensive repositioning. 9:27 a.m. The second order collapse starts, schedules rewrite. Ammunition plans shift. Units meant to counterattack are now defending their own routes. And the Atlantic Wall's inland nodes, telephone lines, radio nets, staff coordination become the real battlefield. Silence becomes the warning signal again. When headquarters stops answering, the front starts improvising. No guidance. No clearance. No coordination. 10:12 a.m. Germany loses the fourth asset, tempo, at the operational level. Not because they're destroyed, but because they're delayed into irrelevance. A counterattack that comes at noon instead of dawn is not a counterattack. It's a casualty report. That pause costs Germany at least one full armored maneuver opportunity in the day, because air power and observation only grow stronger as the sun climbs. No surprise movement. No protected approach. No uncontested roads. 11:06 a.m. By late morning, the Atlantic Wall is no longer the primary defense. The defense becomes ad hoc, local resistance, improvised strongpoints, fragmented units. The plan has shifted from deny landing to contain breach, and that is a different war. If Germany's strategy depended on preventing a foothold, what happens the moment a foothold exists? No strategic denial. No clean containment. No quick reversal. 12:03 p.m. The inland command nodes face the simplest operational reality: they cannot be everywhere. A centralized decision system is powerful until it is overloaded. Then it becomes slow. And slow is fatal. Efficiency became exposure. 12:58 p.m. By early afternoon, the Allies have done something Germany cannot undo quickly: they have made the invasion a logistics problem, not a tactical one. Once supply begins to flow, the invasion stops being an event and becomes a machine. Germany loses the fifth asset, initiative. Because initiative requires the ability to choose when and where to strike. Now Germany is reacting to a flow they cannot easily stop. No clean interdiction. No reset button. No return to yesterday. 1:47 p.m. Here is the trap condition in full: fixed defenses create predictable defense. Predictable defense creates predictable assumptions. Predictable assumptions create exploitable timing. Germany believed the weather would prevent the invasion. The Allies waited until the weather offered a narrow lane and then turned that lane into a highway. If you had spent years building a wall, would you admit that the wall could be bypassed by a forecast? No admission. No adaptation. No humility. 2:39 p.m. The expensive versus cheap contrast becomes strategic. Germany invested fortunes in concrete and steel. The Allies invested in timing, deception, and mobility. Concrete can't redeploy. Steel can't think. Timing can. That delay removes a full decision cycle from the afternoon, because now Germany's higher command must reassess the entire Western theater under active invasion. 3:28 p.m. Every hour that passes solidifies Allied presence and reduces German leverage. This is the brutal arithmetic: if the first day ends with a sustained foothold, the defenders' best chance is already behind them. No quick victory. No clean defeat. No tomorrow we fix this. 4:16 p.m. The Atlantic Wall defenses become what they always were: a delaying layer. A strong one. A lethal one. But not decisive. Decisive is the inland network roads, reserves, communications, and command coherence. Germany's inland nodes were not designed to operate under simultaneous shock. They were designed to execute a plan. When the plan broke, the network broke with it. The system worked. That's why it failed. 5:02 p.m. The second silence arrives, absence as warning. The absence of a coordinated German counterstroke by late day is not restraint. It is incapacity. It means the machine cannot assemble itself fast enough. Throughput drops, not to zero, but low enough to matter. No assembled reserves. No synchronized strike. No unified response. 6:11 p.m. By evening, the Allies have traded blood for position, and position for logistics. And logistics is irreversible at scale. Germany's last real hope, throwing the invaders back into the sea, shrinks with every truck unloaded and every unit that lands intact. That pause costs Germany at least one launch window to restore coastal denial, because once night falls again, the Allies don't stop. They reinforce. 7:03 p.m. Here's the so what moment: the invasion wasn't won by bravery alone, and it wasn't won by numbers alone. It was won because the Allies understood the real target. Not the bunkers. Not the guns. The system behind them. If you can fracture command and control while forcing simultaneous breaches, the wall doesn't matter. It becomes scenery. No single decisive bunker. No one magic gun. No one heroic fix. 8:12 p.m. Germany's posture shifts from confident to conditional. Orders become cautious. Movements become conservative. The coastline is no longer a line. It is a series of emergencies. Readiness becomes conditional instead of assumed. 9:05 p.m. Now we reach the explicit humiliation point, mid-script, cold, final. From that point forward, Russia wasn't choosing when to strike. It was waiting to be ready again. And the reason that line belongs here, despite the theater being different, is that the principle is identical. Once a defender loses tempo and coherence, the defender loses choice. Choice is the highest form of capability. No choice. No timing control. No initiative. 10:02 p.m. In the first 24 hours, the Atlantic Wall has not collapsed everywhere. That's not required. What matters is that the wall has failed at its strategic purpose, preventing a sustained lodgment. Germany loses the sixth asset, the ability to keep the West closed. That's not tactical. That's existential. That delay removes a full strike cycle from the week, because German operational planning now has to account for a permanent Allied foothold. 5:41 a.m., day 2, the morning returns, and Germany is now solving a problem it didn't prepare to solve, fighting a mobile, expanding bridgehead while under increasing Allied air and naval pressure. Every day the bridgehead survives, Germany's defensive depth shrinks. No clean lines. No stable rear. No safe roads. 11:18 a.m., day 3, the 72-hour mark is where the strategic meaning hardens. The Allies aren't just landing. They're building a platform for liberation. That platform forces Germany into a multi-front resource diversion problem they cannot afford. Cheap Allied timing has forced expensive German redistribution. This wasn't protection. It was rigidity. 3:52 p.m., day 3, the verdict is plain: the Atlantic Wall was a confidence structure. It was designed to create certainty. The Allies waited for the only conditions that punctured that certainty and then exploited Germany's dependency on fixed defenses and centralized control. No certainty. No control. No recovery without cost. 8:44 p.m., strategic lesson: modern war is not decided by who owns the most concrete or the thickest line. It is decided by who can identify dependency and compress time until the dependency breaks. Germany depended on the weather to deny the invasion. Germany depended on fixed positions to channel the enemy. Germany depended on centralized command to coordinate response. One narrow weather window turned those dependencies into liabilities. It wasn't chaos. It was calculation. So here's the debate question that matters. If the Atlantic Wall failed because the system behind it couldn't adapt fast enough, what is the next wall in any modern military that looks strong but is really just rigid? Comment your take. Like, subscribe, and follow for more clear breakdowns.